नमस्कार दोस्तों, हमारे चैनल में आप लोगों का स्वागत है। मैं हूं शैलेंद्र। आज हम देखेंगे कि अगर आप CSE सिविल सर्विस एग्जाम की तैयारी कर रहे हैं तो उसमें ऑप्शनल कैसे सब्जेक्ट यूज करेंगे, है ना। तो उसी के बारे में हम लोग जानेंगे। तो चलिए हम इस लेक्चर को यहाँ से स्टार्ट करते हैं। हाउ टू चूज एन ऑप्शनल सब्जेक्ट इन CSE, है ना, सिविल सर्विस एग्जाम। ऑप्शन पेपर प्ले ए वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट role in the final merit list. If prepared well, it can enhance the final score of the candidate and the difference between getting the top choice and missing the cutoff altogether. At the same time, an underprepared optional paper may lead to a steep fall in the final marks and throw a candidate out of the selection list. आगे बात समझ में। There are a various factors that go into selecting an optional out of the given list, है ना। Selecting familiarity, है ना। If your graduation subject appears in the list and you have a fair command over your graduation subject, then it is easier to choose an optional. Since you would have already spent 3 or 4 years preparing the subject during graduation, you can be accepted to have a fair idea of the subject already. है ना। Apart from that, you would have access to the book which you might have bought or would be available in your library. All these factors make your graduation subject an ideal choice for the mains exam, है ना। Interest, second option क्या interest. Since an optional subject would consume a high proportion of time, it is important to choose a subject of your liking. A subject in which a candidate has an interest of comparatively easier to prepare as reading books of the same subject do not feel like an additional burden. And apart from that, the optional subject require a greater depth of understanding as the question paper is of graduation level. In such a scenario, if the optional subject is of liking, then the study would seem like pursuing a hobby, which is the ideal situation. Here, one can try looking into the previous year paper to have a fair idea of the question asked previously and determine the feasibility of preparing the optional subject accordingly. थर्ड क्या बोलता है? Ability of material. This can be considered as the single most important factor regarding a non-familiar optional subject. If enough material including book, notes, books, test series, etc. is available, then there is no harm in going for a subject that is different from graduation subject. In fact, many technical graduates usually prefer humanities subject like history or political science as their optional subject in the mains exam. The best approach would be to move around the market and try to look at the available notes. If the material seems adequate, then the subject can be chosen as the optional subject. 4 number क्या बोला? Good coaching. It is a given that coaching is not essential for preparing for civil service. However, the benefit of coaching is that it simplifies the books and curates curates them according to the need of the exam. Also, it might require a long time for a candidate to understand the requirement of an exam. Coaching makes it easier to understand the approach required to clear this exam. Therefore, if good coaching is available for an optional subject, then it will simplify the exam process for the candidate. है ना। फिफ्थ नंबर क्या बोलता है? प्रेफरेंस ऑफ द ऑप्शनल, सॉरी, परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ द ऑप्शनल. Another important factor which has become significant in choosing an optional is the proportion of selected candidates out of the total candidate who wrote the main exam with the same optional subject. In recent years, popularity of many optional subjects has decreased, decreased among the student community as such optional has fetched comparatively comparatively larger marks as the candidate. Larger marks for the candidate. For instance, public administration was the clear favorite of a large majority of students around a decade back. However, many students have discarded in it the favor of some other optional subject, which has been related with the toppers in some recent year. है ना? ये 5 पॉइंट है जिससे आप पढ़ के मतलब समझ के आप लोग देख सकते हैं कि हमको कैस कब और कौन सी ऑप्शन चूज करना चाहिए, है ना? तो अब मैं इस लेक्चर को यहाँ समाप्त करता हूँ। हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर लीजिएगा और सीएसई से रिलेटेड, यूपीएससी से रिलेटेड या पीएससी से रिलेटेड आप लोगों को वीडियो इस चैनल में मिलता रहेगा। धन्यवाद।